This lesson will cover the following topics: epicyclic gear trains and mechanical components, torque converter. There are several types of epicyclic gear train. Let us start with a simple epicyclic gear train. A simple epicyclic gear train consists of the following components: sun wheel with external teeth, planet wheels, planet wheel carrier, and an annulus with internal teeth. A Ravigneaux type double epicyclic gear train has the following components: annulus, planet wheel carrier, planet wheels meshed together, small sun wheel, and large sun wheel. With a Ravigneaux type epicyclic gear train, it is possible to obtain up to 6 gear ratios. The annulus, planet wheel carrier and sun wheel become the drive component, reaction component, or output component, according to which gear ratio the driver wants. Let us look at the various configurations available with a simple epicyclic gear train. To obtain a lower gear, the reaction component is the annulus. The drive component is the sun wheel. The system operates the relevant brakes and clutches to lock or drive these components. The speed of rotation of the gearbox output is lower than the input speed of rotation. To obtain a higher gear, the reaction component is the annulus. The drive component is the planet wheel carrier. The speed of rotation of the gearbox output is higher than the input speed of rotation. In direct drive, there is no reaction component. The drive components are the annulus and the sun wheel. The speed of rotation of the gearbox output is the same as the input speed of rotation. To obtain reverse gear by reversing the direction of rotation, the reaction component is the planet wheel carrier, and the drive component is the annulus. The rotation of the gearbox output is in the opposite direction from the input direction of rotation. Other mechanical components act on the epicyclic gear trains. When the vehicle is driving in urban areas, heavy engine braking in first gear reduces driving pleasure. To eliminate this disadvantage, some automatic transmissions have an additional component, a one-way clutch. The one-way clutch makes it possible to obtain an automatic first gear without engine braking. The one-way clutch allows the planet wheel carrier to turn in one direction only. The engine drives the wheels, but the wheels do not drive the engine. When the lever is in the park position, the vehicle is immobilized because the park wheel on the output shaft is locked mechanically. The shape of the park wheel teeth prevents accidental engaging when driving. A spring exerts a force on the parking lock pawl to force it to engage at the slightest movement of the vehicle. A second spring on the spindle of the parking lock pawl keeps the pawl disengaged while driving and prevents it engaging. In this section, we covered the following points. There are several types of epicyclic gear train. The special feature of the Ravigneaux type double epicyclic gear train is that it provides up to 6 gear ratios. To obtain a lower gear, the reaction component is the annulus and the drive component is the sun wheel. To obtain a higher gear, the reaction component is the annulus and the drive component is the planet wheel carrier. In direct drive, there is no reaction component. The drive components are the annulus and the sun wheel. In reverse gear, the reaction component is the planet wheel carrier and the drive component is the annulus, thus reversing the direction of rotation. The one-way clutch makes it possible to obtain an automatic first gear without engine braking. When the lever is in the park position, the vehicle is immobilized because the park wheel on the output shaft is locked mechanically. The rotation of the engine is transmitted to the input shaft of the automatic transmission via the torque converter by means of a hydraulic coupling. Now let us look in detail at the torque converter's internal operation. The torque converter is composed of the following components. Impeller, connected to the engine by the drive plate. Turbine, connected to the gear mechanism via the turbine shaft. And a stator, located between the impeller and the turbine. A torque converter operates in two stages, converter phase and coupling phase. On starting, the flow of moving oil slows down the rotation of the impeller. When the engine is idling and a gear is engaged, the oil flow inside the converter is enough to drive the turbine. This is the phenomenon called creeping. The role of the stator is to change the direction of the oil flow to eliminate the braking effect, and to increase the force of the flow by orienting it in the direction of rotation of the impeller. In this case, the stator is fixed in relation to the gearbox casing. Converter phase describes the period during which the converter multiplies the engine torque. At mid-range engine speed, the flow of oil going from the turbine to the stator changes direction. The oil flow strikes the edge, then the back of the stator blades. A one-way clutch in the stator allows it to rotate to eliminate the negative braking effect. This is the start of the coupling phase. Since the stator is freewheeling, there is no torque multiplication. At high engine speed, there is practically no oil circulation between the turbine and the impeller. The torque converter then transmits the engine torque to the gear mechanism. The turbine speed is then almost the same as the impeller speed. The stator's one-way clutch consists of a hub, inclined sprags, and springs. During the converter phase, the sprags are wedged and the one-way clutch is locked. During the coupling phase, the sprags become free and the stator can turn. During the converter's coupling phase, the engine speed is not the same as the turbine speed. Loss of driving power is due to the slippage that occurs in a hydraulic coupling between turbine and impeller. This slippage increases fuel consumption and reduces engine braking. Slippage is eliminated and the performance of the automatic transmission improved by fitting a lock-up clutch between the turbine and the torque converter body. Lock-up involves changing the hydraulic coupling to a mechanical connection by means of a moving plate. The hydraulic distributor cuts off the oil circulation behind the lock-up clutch plate. The pressure difference between the front and back of the plate is high enough to prevent slippage. The turbine and the impeller then rotate locked together. To prevent snatching when locking up, the hydraulic control system adjusts the pressure on each side of the plate during the progressive engagement phase. In this section, we covered the following points. A torque converter is composed of an impeller, a turbine, and a stator. On starting, the converter multiplies the torque delivered by the engine. At high engine speed, the converter transmits the engine torque to the gear mechanism. The stator's one-way clutch consists of a hub, inclined sprags, and springs. Lock-up involves changing the hydraulic coupling to a mechanical connection by means of a lock-up clutch plate.